Right, guys, I'm going to just jump straight into it. Welcome to EVTOL Weekly. Now, I haven't Dylan with me at the moment, so you need to let me know how my mic is getting on, my guys. But yeah, we thought we'd jump on just before the Super Bowl. Not our usual time, but you know what? We'll keep it going anyway. How are we getting on today? Let me jump in. James 007 first, big man. Good evening. Copper tea already, my guy, so thank you. RB Fun Times, big shout out, my guy. While you get in there, do smash that subscribe button. We are so close to 5,000. You can see every single day. I think we're gaining around 20 or so a day. So do jump in, smash that subscribe on the way in. Good Sunday to you. Cheers. Sunday even. No, my. Hey, Liam, thanks for the pre-Super Bowl live eVTOL chat. Super stoked for multiple reasons. Do you know what? You guys are so buzzed about this Super Bowl. I actually might watch it for the first time ever tonight. I've never watched an American football game, put it that way. It's not something that we follow over here. Some guys do follow it, but it's not something that I'd be mad into. Dominic, big shout out, my guy. Dominic, our newest member. Do you know what? Members, we have Drone Daddy there as well. What I'm going to start doing after the streams, I might continue to stream on for members only. Just because I don't do nothing for you at the moment. I don't know what you guys would want. Do you want a request on a video I can make? Anything. Do let me know what I can start doing for members. Jonathan, smash the like button. As you come in, do smash the like button. Do you know what, guys? You're getting great at smashing the like button during all these streams. But yeah, we're here for eVTOL Weekly. I've never watched Super Bowl. Yeah, nah, me neither, my guy. I genuinely haven't watched any American football at all. But eVTOL Weekly, do you know what? I need to start with Joby's ad yesterday. On a Saturday, putting it out. My God, you know it's big when they're putting it out on a Saturday. But I'm going to start off, first of all, with the Burj Khalifa. So there, on February 6th, I put up a video about it. I don't really want to bring it up now, because last time I shared my screen, then Dylan's audio went funny, so I might not share my screen. We'll see. If Dylan doesn't come on, I'll share the screen and show the ads. But the Burj Khalifa, they did light up Burj Khalifa with the S4 and Joby Aviation all over it, ready to take over the skies. And I said that is exactly what this cash raise is going to be in use for. I said they are going to need money for marketing. I said when Joby start marketing, Joby weren't mad for marketing. So when Joby start marketing, we know we're close. And this is a signal to me. If you're lighting up the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, it's a sign that they're ready for Q3. There's no delay in that. Then about 3 days later, was it 3 days later, 2 days later? No, it was a day later, the 7th. It happened on yesterday. They went and showed they've wrapped livery on Uber rides all over San Francisco and San Jose. And it's all to do with Super Bowl weekend. But what are they going doing with that? So, from my understanding, you get inside these cars that are wrapped in the S4. But they've integrated Joby into the app. So what now happens is you get in, and if you spin your phone around the car, it looks like you're inside the S4. It's going to show you what it'll look like during transitions, flying around, and then from my understanding, it'll sort of show you where the designated vertiports are going to be. So it's going to build a bit of excitement, especially we need to think anyone that's watching this is either bullish on the whole eVTOL industry or, look, you know a little bit about the air taxi industry. But I'd say 95% of people don't even know these exist. 95% of people don't even know that electric aircraft exist. And the thought of getting in an electric aircraft, or it could be the thought, it's sci-fi like that you can get in a vehicle that's fully electric, take off like a helicopter, fly like a plane, and then can land like a helicopter or can land like a plane. So I do think you could get quite a major run this week just on the excitement. The amount of people that are now going to look, what is Joby Aviation? Because they've never heard of it before. But then it like begs the question that what does it mean for Archer? Because Archer's partnered with LA and all to do with the 2027 Super Bowl. Joby are already pumping out PR on the 2026 Super Bowl. Dylan has a really nice theory as well that may happen during the Super Bowl. But I'll wait for Dylan to jump in before I say that. Let me jump back. How are we going to ignore the Dow hitting 50,000? We can talk about that if you want. Any chance Joby has a Super Bowl commercial with Uber? You're thinking along the same lines as myself and Dylan. We think, look, I'll just say it. We think there's potential for a Joby Uber commercial or an Archer Aviation commercial for next year. Because they want to build hype and excitement around the whole Super Bowl. And what's better than telling you that they'll be there at the next one? I don't know. Maybe. Do jump in and let us know. Do you think there'll be a commercial there? I know Matan's very big. I think Mr. Beast is doing a commercial with Salesforce. So he jumped in heavy on Salesforce. But I don't really reckon that that's going to move Salesforce. I think Salesforce will move itself. I got wings and I'm ready for snacks. I mean football. Hello all. Big shout out, Mac. You will love football. The fans got absolutely nuts when the team scores a home run. Do you know what? I am obsessed with. You guys call it soccer. That's what I was watching today. My team Arsenal are top of the league. We haven't won the league in 22 years. And we were going to go 9 points. Well, we were 9 points clear. And then Man City beat Liverpool. So it's now down 6 points again. But no, I'm all gas for that. 20th second, $15 calls on what? Rodney. What are you on Joby? I hope you mean Joby. Ooh, that'd be a massive run. I don't know about that. I have called this stream Archer and Joby will 2x. And I genuinely believe Archer and Joby will 2x over the short term. I will get into where I see it going over the long term. Rodney, a 2x over a week. It's more than a 2x, that'd be, would it? Be about a 2x, is at 730 at the moment. Good luck. I believe it'll 2x. I don't think it'll 2x over a week. But over the short term, I do believe it'll 2x. Dylan is here, my guy.
Hey. How's it going? How's it going, everyone? How you doing?
How are you feeling about Super Bowl? You all excited?
You know, I'm excited. I think fatherhood is kind of taken over the last 2 and 3 years of being super tapped in. But yeah, just kind of in that sense of getting a chance to sit back and maybe relax for a few hours. Yeah, it's exciting to see, and hopefully everybody got all their predictions in, and hopefully the predictions are right, no matter which way you went on them. Yeah. How's your son?
Look, I don't know. Am I allowed to say this on YouTube? But I'm just gonna say it anyway, guys.
Yeah.
Does anyone bet on the Super Bowl? And if so, who are you betting for? What do you bet on? I have no knowledge on American football whatsoever.
I would say probably one of the largest. I would say it's definitely the top televised event. So if you go down on kind of US commercial television ratings, Super Bowls probably hold like top 15 of the top 20 like aired events in the last 30 years and such. And so prime time on the cost for Super Bowl ads. And yeah, I think with not just the inception of the apps we can do the predictions on, the betting on. Also, all the prediction markets. So even for the fintechs that have loaded those in, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, some people they like to rock with the parlays and get a few things together to hit, and it's always that one leg that doesn't, So, but yeah, we might throw a prediction or two in there. Not sure who's gonna win it, but yeah, gonna have to predict something. Gonna have to figure out the prediction. Yeah.
Just before you jumped on, I don't know, did you see the guys were saying, could we expect a Joby Uber commercial come up in the Super Bowl? And then I was saying that we were sort of toying with the idea of, could we see a ACHR commercial during the Super Bowl? What do you think the chances are of seeing either happen?
All right, so let's see. Top of the head, if I'm going to put a percentage on it, and I don't know if this is too bullish, but I'm going to go 10% chance that we're going to see it. Don't want to get too ahead of the skis in saying
what do you think is more likely, Joby or ACHR?
I want to say ACHR. Now, in the back of my mind, though, I do think of the presence that Joey's been taking in Dubai lately, and kind of more of a have our products seen, kind of have the public able to come up and view and continue to get that. And I believe it was on Oliver's X, I believe, marketing gentleman from Joby, that had some Uber SUVs that would have had the S4 on the side as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of helps kind of counterbalance my scales. But actually what I was thinking upstairs, which again, maybe a hopeful thought, would be some way in which these companies would collaborate, and it wouldn't be a one or the other commercial. And
also more about the industry.
Almost, yeah. Almost having to smash together of at least the two products, the S4 and the Midnight, and kind of having, maybe almost like a Department of Transportation feel behind it, or like the next wave of this is coming in. But I do think that speculation, I think what would it be? The optimist side of me would be like, all right, I'm going to keep my eyes out for the Archer Aviation commercial. And then I don't know if you would say logical or just kind of keeping the feet on the ground side is like, if it shows, that's awesome. And not just for the portfolio or what we could see waking up tomorrow. Again, I think that's the industry leading in, as again, it's going to be one of the, not just it kind of counter, it's going to be one of the most viewed commercials that you're going to have. But again, it's going to come at one of the highest premiums for your company to air it during that block. So, and again,
you need to be pretty sure you're going to be rolling out to be firing a commercial up.
Well, to be fair, but also, but
Archer did do it with Usha.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't, whether it was too early or right on time for what the timing of it was. If they were able to pull one out of the bag a few years ago, it gives me enough curiosity to stay tuned to the game to see if there might be maybe a little revelation of some EVTOL news that could come out of it. But something else got me really excited, actually, around seeing SFO and seeing all the private jets that it got chartered in. So it just kind of, again, leads me into next year, where we'll be a year further ahead in our certification timeline, again, further ahead in the UAE rollouts, and then looking at the next Super Bowl being held at SoFi Stadium. So again, having those points of connectivity to Hawthorne, and just kind of wondering what that show might start to look like a year from now, with everything kind of coming together. So yeah, a few exciting pieces of the Super Bowl, absolutely.
Yeah, for anyone that has only just joined us, Joby have wrapped the SUVs around the place, and if you actually jump in one of these, they've integrated it into the app where you can actually sit inside the vehicle, scan it around, and it looks like you're flying in the S4, and it'll tell you where the vertiports are and everything. It looks cool. But then it made me think as well.
Yeah.
So they're open about they will be on the Uber app. So does that kind of make the Elevate OS app redundant? Because I'd say 90% of people that are going to be using these will then want to marry it up then with a Uber, etc., like a car ride
Yeah,
after it.
that would
So
make
then
sense.
it's like, is Elevate OS just going to be a collaboration with Uber and integrate it straight into the app? Or, like, I'm just so confused. Why are you going to run it on two apps when Uber are just going to have it on their app anyway?
I think a great question. And yeah, it would be interesting because it's not, in the app world, I'm trying to kind of piece the puzzle together in my head. And it's not like traditionally, it's like you're going to click your rideshare in this one app and it's like going to hyperlink you over, and be like, oh, now we're going to get you to like the NetJet app or something like that because you've taken an Uber. Most likely you're going to land and then inversely jump NetJets or NetJets, if you need maybe get an Uber Black or something like that to head to your final destination on that trip. But yeah, it seems if you have your rideshare app and then you would have generally either, I don't even want to call it a special feature, just a special section, where it would be more your aerial ride sharing versus your car ride sharing. Maybe the only little kind of seesaw balance I can think is just in the early rollout, would there be any user confusion where maybe somebody was intending to book X, getting Y, or going backwards B to A or something like that? So maybe that would offer towards a new platform. But yeah, I mean, if you already have so many people already accustomed with that Uber app and being able to pop into it, seems like on the face of it, an easier way, and also to connect, like you're saying, your point-to-point rides, where you're going to connect also, maybe also pre-plan out your pickup from the house to vertiport, and then already having your car scheduled to pick you up from vertiport to take you to final destination too.
Yeah, guys, how do you feel that it's going to work? Do you think you will see a redundancy of the Elevate OS? Do you think they'll start pushing further towards Elevate OS, or do you think it's going to be an amalgamation of both? Do let us know. Christian, big shout out, my guy. Go Hawks, go Seahawks, Jonathan says.
Okay.
Sean Trade says, hello, fellas. Big shout out, my guy.
Nice, Sean.
Putting 10K on Patriots.
Mm.
Big money, my guy. I couldn't go gambling with like 10K, Not that shit.
It's funny. It's like I can talk to my buddy about stocks, and he might not even have a stock app on his phone, and he's more into like the gambling and stuff. And I can talk to him and be like, or even the ones where you can do like more casino games and stuff, like bet on a roll of dice and stuff. And I was talking to him when we went to a local basketball game a few weeks ago, and I was just like, man, I saw this 500 on a dice roll online, and boom, up in smoke, there it went. And I was just like, I just couldn't see, I couldn't see myself doing it on the kind of algorithm possible dice rolled game. But yeah, I mean, but when you do get into kind of the sports predictions, somewhat like your equity stocks, the more research that you have and can do, on the individual companies, or in these points, the players and the teams, you can always kind of try to give you that little bit of leg up. And then just kind of been looking at the differences and balancing what you'll have again in your DraftKings and such, and pairing against your prediction markets. And I think everybody in that world trying to find the best edge that they can. Maybe like the EVTOL world as well. Getting the best edge you can, and getting ready to take off. But yeah, it should be an exciting night, and for anybody, I hope it's a win for you.
Fasty and C, Chris, how are we getting on, my guy? Wrapped SUVs. Guess I'm missing a bunch of news, gentlemen. Yeah, if you jump across to Joby's X, they have the wrapped SUVs on that, and the ad that's gone out with Uber, and they also have they lit up the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, which to me, I believe, is a signal that Q3 rollout is happening. Eric Dwyer, Big E here, love your show, very informative. Thank you so much, my guy. Do you know what? I may not do a live tomorrow. I don't know, will I, won't I? Do you know what? I'm turning a year older tomorrow.
No, you let me know
tomorrow. Yeah.
Hey, happy early.
I'm older,
happy
I'm wiser.
early.
So I don't know whether I'll do a live stream or not. I'll
Stay
let you
young.
guys know.
Stay young, my friends. Stay young. And real quick, one of the things I was looking into Joby, and And when you were talking about kind of sealing up, going for that Q3 rollout, it looked like the first vertiport, and that would be near the it was near the international airport in Dubai. It's looking to be about 60% complete now, and looking to aim for Q1 finish of 2026. So, like we were saying, kind of in the last one we got on live, kind of with the calm down, trying to ease the nerve streams and stuff like that. Just again seeing where if there is turbulence in the US markets, what other kind of picks and shovels or, kind of side angles of the build out structures that are going into the eVTOL networks. So always interesting again to tap into those and to see that those timelines are still projecting towards again, because to have the rollouts, we are going to have certain infrastructures or those partnerships like from the JetXs and such also coming to fruition. So excited to see that continuing to get built, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of the ribbon cutting ceremony on the first vertiport out there in Dubai actually is. So yeah, very cool to see come along.
And then Dylan, I've named this stream Arch and Joby will 2x, and I believe that'll happen within a relatively short term. Now I know one guy up there is very confident on that, and he's doing $15 calls for Archer for the 20th of this month, which I think is absolutely wild. But look, you'll be laughing at me if he ends up being right.
Well,
But
and like you said, Liam, it's just kind of crazy as we get into February, and being February is a short month. And like we said, we know that, FAA is a catalyst, EIPP is a catalyst, but just as close as we're getting into kind of those March 20th dates and more maybe getting those selections fully announced out by Department of Transportation and stuff. So sorry to cut you off, but you just kind of have my brain thinking
no.
actually again, kind of closing the month, entering one, and almost feeling like we're in the middle of another. Just again, as time progresses, getting closer to each one of those different catalyst timelines. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, because when I put out my original video of believing it was a easy 2x over a relatively short time horizon, we were down at 6:30, and I couldn't see a reversing. That was probably it was probably that night I recorded the video after we had our live during the week. And like the stock felt like it was on the floor. It felt like there was no reversals coming. I said, don't be looking at your portfolios for 2 weeks. And the very next day we ran. And we ran nicely. Now I only got 50 shares of Archer. I can't believe it, yeah. So me calling this, that, and the other, and I managed to only get 50 shares of Archer, none of Joby, none of Horizon Aircraft, none of Vertical Aerospace during that pullback. And it shows you can know an awful lot about this space, but some things just happen.
That's so true. That's so true. And with that, I was curious, kind of as the macro conditions have been so bad throughout the week, as it kind of turned on Friday, I was just kind of curious. I'm like, okay, options expiring. Like, are we just going to continue to crush the market to kind of get through this week? Let those options kind of get some zero DTEs or expire out on those. And yeah, just like you said, it seemed like Friday, the momentum picked up. So, it'll be interesting in just the macro landscape if that does carry into this week. But, it's nice to see that the strength in the beta names are having that chance to have a more, a little bit of that V shape, not a spread U shape recovery as those are coming back up. So yeah, I think it's one of those times where, as it goes down, it can be like, oh, I want to stay away from the market. Stay away. And then, once it's getting green, it's like, wait a second, what's going on here? But no, don't blame you. And yeah, what we have seen in this early month of February is unpredictability. So I hope up and to the right, but nothing to say that in 2 weeks something crazy couldn't go on and smash the high beta. But yeah, I don't fault anybody from either side. The hold, the buy, for the first time in a long time, I was below my cost average on Archer there for a while. So, but for me personally, held tight and looked around at a few other names and saw if there were some buying opportunities also in the broader landscape of the eVTOL. Yeah. And did the best I could.
Big shout out. Max says happy early birthday, Liam. Thank you so much, my guy. Will we see revenue producing flights this year? Not for ACHR Aviation. Joby, you could say that Blade are operating revenue producing flights.
True.
But as the S4, yeah, I think we could. I think we could. It really depends on FAA certification happens. If it happens before Q3 rollout in the UAE, I think you could see revenue generate flights before the end of the year in the US. What are your thoughts on it?
It's a tough one. I'm I agree with you. I have to, as much as I, want the US to kind of keep the foot on the gas and continue pushing through the certification and the timeline, I just don't want to get too far ahead of myself in thinking that it will happen prior to GCAA adoption and entry into service. But with that said, and again, going back to successful vertiport build out, I think in the UAE, and I think the balance is going to be whether these are being conducted as market survey flights and really just kind of more in the like comped flight, or are we doing no passenger flights, but they do say commercial ops are to roll out prior to the end of 26. That so far is the guidance that you'll see floating around. So to that guidance, and Joby's continue build and get a few more manufactured, I do think that there's a chance of seeing them. Yeah, absolutely. I do think a chance of revenue.
Dang. Bag, I see you didn't mean to type that. No problem, my guy. February 6th, White House action announced the administration signed an executive action establishing an EVTOL integrated pilot program, which is market interpreted. That happened way before February 6th. Will we see a flight that proves an air taxi is possible this year?
I like that question. Yeah.
I think so. Do you?
I agree. I do think that 2026 is a big year for the eVTOLs, and I think with the strength that Joby's shown in really just sticking to the type conforming and pushing through, looking to get through TIA, again, having the DARs, the DERs on the floor, and UAE. I do really think that that would be possible this year, and it'll be interesting come these next quarterly earnings calls, what we do hear about it, and if that goalpost is kind of moved back any. But if they stick to that guidance as well on this next earnings call, again, that's just more investor confidence in my mind that we are steering towards the right way of hitting those projected timelines that they have. So yeah, short answer. Yeah, I think we can see a flight that proves it.
Joby would not be ramping up everything if they didn't get a wink from the FAA. I actually agree with that. I think they have some sort of signal. I'm not saying that they've been told they will be certified, because that can't happen unless they are certified, but I do believe they have some sort of signal. I don't think they would have. Yes, it looked beautiful last week when they had diluted just before the big rundown,
Right.
but they didn't anticipate that happening. I don't think they would have raised and especially by that much, if they didn't sort of get a wink that they're going. They don't need 1.2 billion if they're not actually going operating. So I would be on the understanding that they are pretty certain they're getting FAA certified pretty soon.
Yeah, and like you say, even in the sense of getting the wink, even just factual behind the doors when they are looking to go through, and we'll get updates again, I'm sure, on the shareholder letter on where they're currently at in the certification process. But again, if they have started that process and if things are going good inside the building, maybe that is giving the C-suite more of a green light to say, because we kind of have seen with Joby, I don't want to say slower to PR or quieter with PR, but was maybe more hesitant to kind of roll out the PR regarding their flights or their particular aircraft. So yeah, kind of marrying in the PR that we've been seeing in Dubai with also going through the certification process to marry in, again, like you're saying, Liam, to your dilution thoughts on that as well. Yeah, if not just a wink, maybe also some company confidence that's kind of showing through the doors with Joby as well in that.
Then Christian White, happy birthday. Thank you, my guy. Yeah, I'm a
I
year
know.
older.
And I
Wow.
need to get the eVTOL emoji soon, you know? I start seeing that one pop up. I would love that.
Revenue 2026 revenues, Hawthorne Airport should generate 10 million all year. Summer defense contract could be. Where did I see that Hawthorne generates something like 22 million?
On the call, he had mentioned that they were EBITDA positive. Can do a quick check on the financials of Hawthorne. But to keep in mind, even on the initial earnings call, let me do annual revenue. That Adam did say not to think of Hawthorne in the Archer lens as like a revenue generating sort of purchase. So almost in the sense of like it's EBITDA positive. So it's not like we're going to be burning cash to kind of keep up that airport and, you know, kind of do any like reconstruction as if it had to have like kind of new face put on or a whole new rebuild. But yes, I definitely see that as a positive, and Hawthorne segment sales were 52.1 million as of Q1 2025, which ended December 28th of 24. So yeah, I would say about on average that would make sense, as you probably also have maybe a decline in the airport traffic as you were leading into them looking at the potential sale. And, you know, if it was something that was a crazy revenue generating property for either the owners of Hawthorne or the city of LA, it may be no need to change hands at that point if it was, you know, generating you $1 billion of cash every year on that piece of property. So yeah, great to see this EBITDA positive. Continue to bring in any capital off the top and fill that thing up with PJs as soon as you can. Come time to expand that out to any LAX operations as well.
Guys, there's 100 of you between X and YouTube. Smash that like button. It helps us get out to more people. And if you want to see that wheel spin up above our head there, do smash that subscribe button. We are edging ever closer to that 5,000 subs. Do you know what I can't believe, Dylan? It took us 7 months to get to 500 subscribers. Yeah. And last month we got 510 subscribers.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Exponential, my guy.
Thank you all for checking this out. No, really appreciate it. But I, you know, and again, I always kind of take that back to just as the community grows, the public adoption coming in. So it's, you know, it's interesting. And if you're a newer investor into any of the eVTOL companies, feel free to drop in also what perked your interest in it, you know, what kind of brought you into the space and what has you excited kind of moving forward. So definitely curious thought for anybody new joining the space too.
Then jumping back across, Mac, at what price do you see Joby, ACHR, and EVTL, so that's vertical aerospace, in 6 months and in 1 year? 6 months is very hard. I'll tell you why 6 months is very hard, because the catalysts we are saying are happening within the year. To narrow that down in a 6-month time frame, like I said, the catalysts over the year for both ACHR and Joby, a military contract for either of them. And are we going to shorten that down to that could happen within 6 months? Potentially it could, but I feel like giving it a year's scope is a lot better. Q3 rollout, yeah, I don't know. 6 months is a very hard one. I've said with Joby, I believe will hit $30 this year. I don't know, will it close at $30?
Sure.
But I believe with hype, with excitement, it will hit $30. I'm going to stick with ACHR. I believe it will hit $20. That was my call for last year, but
Those are good
I
thoughts.
believe more than ever we will hit $20. Vertical aerospace. I was actually very worried. Remember when I said I was going to enter vertical aerospace last week?
Yeah.
I think it had a low of like 403, and I thought if we break that $4,
Sure.
it's going to get very dangerous.
Sure.
I know some of you guys have been trading it, and that's why I'm not too fond of it, because I know how many people trade it. Could you see it climbing above 7? I don't know. I'd have to look properly at vertical aerospace.
I agree
What
with
are your
those.
thoughts?
I agree with those thoughts. And, you know, something you had kind of tipped on there for my brain was, you know, with some of these equity stocks, are they a trading vehicle for most, you know? And then we kind of know that being an equity buyer, you might be getting in at quote unquote the wrong time for, you know, the share you purchased that day in a 1 week, 1 month, possibly 3 month, you know, calendar look back at that purchase. Will Vertical be able to double their market cap within a year? I would say that they would have a tougher shot than Joby and Archer, even though their market cap is substantially under what Joby and Archer would be at. I just, as we've gotten a lot of the retail sentiment into Joby and Archer, maybe we're seeing that start to flow into Vertical. But like you said, you know, in the buy and the holds, you know, growing enough investor confidence to have, you know, really retail at the beginning kind of holding the legs and being able to spread that out across so many different of these eVTOL companies. And again, being able to withstand any of the drawdowns in those stock prices as they go in and have those be a buy the dip opportunity, again, inverse to, like you're saying, Liam, where you may have that opportunity to have those Wednesday through Thursdays of last week be some general trading, swing trading accumulation periods. And then once, you know, anybody would get to their cash out point, whether it's 10, 15, 25%, whatever their mark is, you know, maybe pull the trigger and then just look to re-enter on a 10% decline from their purchase as well. So yeah, very good thoughts. And I do think based on today's prices, that there is a chance within the next year for both of these companies to double their market cap. I think there's enough catalysts on the table, even though there could be some buy the rumor, sell the news catalysts that will be coming up. I do think that there's enough catalysts on the table, but I will stand with this being with both the FAA support and then the GCA support. So if we see that start to waver on either end, that's going to be obviously a huge red flag and one to take notice of. But those would be one of the two situations where I would kind of really pause and look to see what sort of doubling that could happen in a year. But yeah, with continued support from both FAA, GCA, and we really don't get to talk about the Asia market that much. But I kind of say that only in the sense of just where kind of the lean in infrastructure, government, and aviation authority, kind of regulatory bodies show so much support. So it's not to count out the Asia market. But I think that again is going to be the third leg as we kind of have these vehicles or aircraft start to enter again, whether it's GCAA or FAA airspace first, and then broadening out to the Asia customers as well, that both Joby and Archer both have the MOUs and on the books for as well, like ANA and Sorkel and all those partnerships. So yeah.
Would you ever be interested in buying into eHang? It's one I've always thought of staying away from.
So far, I'm I'm still staying away. And the first reason that comes to mind is I really want to see the global expansion opportunity for any of these companies. Really, the global reach, yeah, global reach or global expansion opportunities for any of these companies in the eVTOL space, and I'll just be curious to see how much of that expansion that can come from that player versus having again your Jobies, your Archers, maybe your Verticals being able to tap into those markets and take a little bit of that market share away. So, you know, it might start to kind of slice the pie up a little bit. So I kind of have to keep an eye and kind of run the TAM on that. But what I will say again, as EHang, continues to push forward, seeing the acceptance and the adoption of the type of flight again gets me excited to see, again, on the backs of UAE and the US, how eager they are to bring this mode of transportation on in to their countries as well. So not yet, but even with some recent news on Horizon, I actually was like, okay, a little bit of manufacturing information that came out. So a little bit pieces of the puzzles that we had been looking for, shaping themselves together. So kind of looking in that kind of, for me, almost in a ACHR Aviation sort of style, like an outsourced sort of manufacturing. So really starting to acquire those manufacturing partnerships. And the most recent one, I'm just going to say the letters. I apologize if it comes together more as a name, but RAMPHs, so like Ramps Composite Solutions, who was formerly Apex Composites, German-based company, secures aerospace defense, and what I thought was interesting was medical industries. So that was also something, because we've kind of heard and known that Horizon was so interested in tapping into really that medical emergency response sort of area. So seeing them as a partner was kind of interesting, additional piece of Hover's puzzle coming together for me. And so yeah, combine that and putting the fuselage on the full scale prototype at the Ramps facility in Burlington, Ontario. And then again, we know we got the PTA 6 from Pratt and Whitney's, and that'll be the hybrid electric system. And then the partnership with Motion Applied, and that designing motors and powering the aircraft. Yeah, as well. So just want to make sure I didn't get that wrong for the hover lovers out there. I was like, let me make sure I get it word by word, because I know they'll tear me apart, because I know they know their stuff. So if I'm gonna speak on hover, I'm gonna try to
dot your eyes across your teeth.
I'm gonna try to come correct on it. So yeah, but that was cool to see though. And just a little side thing, I was reading a book to my little young one. I was giving him a bath, and it was like a book called like The Incredible Machines or something like that. It was titled. So we were flipping through, and we get to the very last page, and there's a Harrier jet, and all of a sudden, I mean, this book, I should have looked at it. I mean, it was probably made like 90s, early 2000s. It, definitely didn't look like it was made yesterday. Is just my point on that. And just again to see the words VTOL pop out of a book, it's just like, whoa, like this is my world. This is what I love. And all of a sudden I'm reading a book, and although it's older technology and something that's been around for a while, it did also lead me into kind of thinking about the types of missions that individuals that are in those C-suites and running operations for Hover have been in. And then I was kind of going back to thinking of the inducted fan technology, and just again kind of pairing that with maybe what somebody may have experienced if they've flown that jet themselves, and then progressing that into the Cavalry X7 and kind of pushing forward with the prototypes and getting the full scale on that too. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy where maybe once you start getting into eVTOL, you kind of start seeing little clouds of it like everywhere around you and stuff. So yeah, that was a cool little highlight.
Brian Lynch, go Archer. We've got an OG here, been investing since 2023. Love the channel.
Nice.
I'm a big Archer fan. Big shout out, my guy. If you ever visit Cork, make sure to say hi. I will, my guy. I've only ever been to Cork once in my life, and that was probably about 15 years ago. So big shout out. If I ever be down that side of the country, I used to I was managing a shop down in Wexford for a while, my guys. But no, I've only been in Cork done once. Bag of Holding is pretty adamant to stay away from vertical. He has always said that. He hasn't just said that.
Sure.
I do remember him always saying stay away from vertical. Playing some FNV listening to some eVTOL chatter is the best. Z Stacker,
Oh, Z,
big up, my
man.
guy.
That's so cool. Thank you, man. That's so appreciated.
Mac is showing his appreciation. He did buy 10,000 of each company last week. Do you know what? If you just hold that for the long term, do you know what? I have to say this, yeah? Investing is so easy, yeah? We make it hard. Look at that last week, yeah? I actually commend anyone that held throughout that. Look at where you are today.
True.
And again, look, nothing happened within the eVTOL industry to make us bearish on the industry. So we knew it wasn't an eVTOL pullback. So look, you may have to go through that 100 more times before you get to where you want to be. But like, just do it again. Just maintain. Now, that is not saying hold through everything. If there is negative news that breaks your thesis, that's
a good quote.
Now.
That's a good quote. That breaks your thesis. I like that. I like the way you put that, Liam. That's a good way to put it. That breaks your thesis. I like that.
FedStacker used to have 10,000 shares of Archer, but got less bullish on Adam and sold out. You sold a whole lot. I'm still bullish on the company and ultimately bullish on the whole sector and hope Joby and Archer make it. I have no doubt both companies will make it. It's just how big they make it is what I'm trying to weigh up in my head at the moment. I'm trying to align myself on which company I think is going to make it bigger.
Well, what I see with Z2 is, it seems whether he's holding Archer, I don't want to misquote that maybe he shared some Horizon holding news as well, but I don't want to misspeak. But also on the Joby, where even if it is that like confidence in Adam that he may have lost, that's okay. It doesn't seem like he's lost the confidence in the eVTOL industry. So that's kind of just more my basic point on that, where I think at this point in time, free to yep, absolutely, Z. So yeah, I think it's definitely a time where it's still free to form your thesis and decide if there's a leading horse in the race that you do want to go with, just in a general portfolio size. But if we're kind of swapping from eVTOL company to eVTOL company, or riding a run up in one and then adding equity shares in another, again, we're kind of showing love to the eVTOL industry, regardless of that, even if it's a buy or sell in an individual company name. So love Z's investor confidence in the industry. I'm with you.
He does believe that Horizon will make big money. Do you know what? I don't only want Horizon to make big money because I'd want to be in it, but I just, for you guys, I know you guys are so passionate about it. WHD says, would you address Archer's production strategy? Yesterday I mentioned expect 300 units yearly being produced in 5 years. Now, the only thing I'll say about Archer's production strategy, myself and Dylan tried to deep dive that after a live stream one day.
Yeah.
And some of it looked a little bit unrealistic. So we think they may try and follow something more like we're seeing from Joby, because this hasn't been reiterated in a while now. If you can remember, do you know off the top of your head, Dylan, what they were expecting?
On which year? Were we doing the 650? The 650 projection, or were we looking
2027, at... they were projecting something absolutely wild.
Because it wasn't the 48. Was it the 96 that we were looking at? Because it wasn't like double.
Yeah, it was 96. It was double Joby. And we were like, there's no way they're going to double Joby when they don't have an FAA certification.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And running the numbers, like WHP said right there, if that was to come to fruition at the $5 million sale clip, I believe that would be $1.5 billion in sales of aircraft for that particular year. So not too bad if so, not too bad if so.
Wouldn't be too bad, but how achievable is it? Like next year, I can more or less guarantee they're not going to make 96 next year. Because FAA certification, when are we expecting it? I would say around Q2 next year.
5 years, huh? Okay. Let's
Chinese
say
a weird one though.
I don't want to put it and I'm trying to be honest with this, but I don't want to put it completely out of the realm of possibility. I think both of these companies working with automotive manufacturers, which you're going to hope, which is going to lean into just basically the speed and the efficiency, possibly some learning of the tools of the trade, um, bringing in that expertise from both the manufacturing partners. And, I know 300 is a lot from where we sit today, but, if you do hit that green light on FAA, I think that's where I go back to kind of also giving enough time for these companies to tool out the production facilities. So, again, if we have these fully tooled out in a year and a half to 2 years, that puts us, 2020, late 27, early 28. So if we can get, let's say we get 100 aircraft off the line in 28. If we double that for 29, that's 200, or let's even go 175-ish or so. And then if we can double ramp manufacturing from there, that kind of puts us at WHP's 300 mark for 5 years. So, yeah, I don't want to be
I
the
know where
eternal optimist. Yeah, go for it.
WHD is going with this though. What would you project Archer stock price to be? Because we got a wild stock price from him yesterday.
Mm. All right, 1.5 billion in sales.
Please don't come out with the same figure.
We're going stock price. Stock price. All right. Give me 20 seconds as I knew it.
Yeah,
We're gonna
no, you're
yeah,
fine.
so we're gonna ramp production, which means we're also going to have a larger presence in, I would say, again, this is all hypothetical, so not financial advice. This is me just talking off the top of my head. But that means we're gonna have more presence both in the UAS, the US and the GCA and UAE. As well as, and I would see that folding into the Asia customer partners as well. Would we then be seeing? Oh, and also not to forget, we have Ethiopian Airline as a launch edition partner and customer partner. Sorry, partner as well. So, um, man, 1.5 billion market caps right now. It's just under 5. They're already holding the cash. I don't want to be too like I'd love to slap like a 20 on it this year, a 30 on it next year, a 40 and a 50, but I
You're
don't
well
want to
out of the
get
ballpark of his range.
I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah, I can understand your whole feeling.
Yeah, what did you guys say?
WHD, correct me if I'm wrong, but with that 300 units a year in 5 years' time, he was projecting a stock price of $268. And I
Hmm.
just think, I think it's a stretch, is to say the least.
And I think it'll be interesting in that, and they are not Palantir. This is not comparing Archer to Palantir or anything like that. And we've seen the stock rise, and we've seen Palantir stock also, retrace when even you would thought some of the defensive stocks would have stayed hot, so they even were retracing a little bit in that and getting back to like uh not to misquote, but like February of 25-ish prices and stuff like that. So, had even retraced back and taken away gains for a good 6 months, if not longer, for some people's portfolios. But where that brand awareness, and it's just, the stock market can also be crazy in a good way sometimes. So it can kind of be weird and angry and kind of make us red as it goes red and all that going on. Um, but large short interest on Archer, I always stick with. And I think once that pressure valve starts to get released and those shorts are turned into longs, I am really curious what that can do as an inverse flipping to the stock price. And then also, if we look at 5 years, I don't know if this will be able to happen in 5 years. I think it's going to be a stretch. And again, I would love to be the eternal optimist, but I want to try to stay logical for everybody in the
Hey,
community and,
look,
and for myself as
WHD, if
well.
we are wrong, I'll hold my hands up. I'll
Oh,
happily hold my hands
I
up. And you know
exactly.
what? We'll all be sitting on the beach together. But
Well, and one thing I was thinking too is the if and when, or the when and if of the inclusions to the S&Ps, or, you know, getting back into certain Russells, where you're going to have index funds or institutions that are basically going to have floors in which you're going to be buying the stock at, to again help elevate where the stock could go. So if it's 268, I love that number. It's a nice not round number. So I actually like that. But yeah, it's so hard to tell. And I know a lot have a thought of Archer 200. So if it up and succeeds that, you know, hopefully people are able to kind of weather the upstorm, kind of the melt up, and, you know, have the confidence in the company that basically the ride is not over in 5 years, and, you know, we still got a lot to see in a positive way from these companies. And also in 5 years, looking at what is the defense revenue, what is, you know, because at that point, if we're already getting programs of records, what has already been established, what are the timelines on those, and like what are the future projections on new programs of records that can come in, and then really both kind of marrying in defense revenue, commercial revenue, and profitability for both of the companies. Yeah.
WHD, I agree with you. I would say the realistic answer would be what we're kind of projecting. But I do hope you're right. Because if you're right, yeah, do you know what? We can close down the Hustle Brothers, because, my God, we've done our work then.
It'd be a great return on the purchases. Absolutely. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
Guys, make that wheel spin, please. Smash that subscribe button. We're so close to 5,000. Do you know what? I am so gassed. We'll do a celebration stream at 5,000 subs, you know.
Love it.
And as I said, that didn't we drop? But do smash that like button as well. I am pretty wary that you're getting close to your Super Bowl time. So,
let's see, coming up, gosh, yeah, you know, well, I will say, when you start talking and listening to eVTOLs, the clock kind of goes away. So yeah, I think general kickoff is around the 6:30 time. I know they always drag it out a little bit, but yeah, some people or myself might settle in here in a little bit and get it started, and maybe keep a side eye out for any eVTOL ads, commercial, DOT kind of just drops of information. But it's always great to get on with you, Liam, and chat some eVTOLs. So as always,
I just want to address one thing. Please compare Uber to Archer. I have done a video on that, my guy. If you want to jump across and check out that video. Let's start at 600 on the game. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. Sorry, this is a short one today. It's been great speaking to you, Dylan, as always. And yeah, guys, will I take the day off? I don't know. Will I take the day off? But I'll probably take the day off the live stream tomorrow.
I hope he takes it off, but I feel like he's gonna be here. But go take it off, Liam. You work hard, man.
Right, guys. Yeah, I might see you tomorrow. I might not see you tomorrow. But if not, I'll see you the next day. Right,
Happy
guys,
birthday, Liam. Happy birthday, Liam. Have a great one, y'all.
Right, guys. Until then.